dime right now. I thought I said that, but if I didn't, maybe that makes it clear.
Well, it's not clear by this motion in my mind.
So I made a motion, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had no intentions of spending a dime.
So you're amending your motion?
I've amended it.
I'll second that.
Yeah. That was my question also. The cost, it's my understanding that there was to be no expense incurred on this task that we were asking our administrator to go out and just come back with ideas or concepts, and we will look at those and make a decision. And once we make a decision, then we'll look at whether or not we want to invest that capital into those ideas. But right now, all we're asking is just to go out and come back and present to us some ideas of what we could possibly do. Last year, the cost for outsourcing female, and my concern is the female inmates. The cost for outsourcing female inmates was in excess of $130,000. Our annual daily population of females in the current facility is anywhere between 75 to 100 females per day. That's a lot. And this is a problem that we're going to have to address, and it's going to have to be addressed immediately. As stated earlier, we're sitting on a time bomb, and we're going to have to do something to address this problem. I don't know the answer. I don't know the solution. I'm willing to listen and try to work toward solving this particular problem. I think this is the problem at hand. The jail, what we decide to do in terms of building a new one or whatever, that's down the road. And that will take 3 to 5 years. But the female population situation is something that we must address today.
Mr. Chairman, on Splash 5 Tier 1, this project was approved, and these expenditures were approved. We moved forward with this project in good faith after an agreement with the city to give us I Street. That's plain, that's clear. We paid for architectural services to be done at that time. Then the city reneged on I Street. There's ways of refunding this money back because we weren't liable to have to redesign it. And I would look, that should be discussed in executive session when the time comes. But we're obligated to the taxpayers for Splash 5, and by law, we got to move forward with this. Now, in some way, we've got to fulfill our obligation to Splash 5, just like we have to fulfill it to Splash 4. And while I disagree with Commissioner Coleman, we're not behind on Splash 4. We've been going as hard as we could go as the project had been brought to us by staff. Whether it's the fire truck or what it is, until they bring us these projects forward, we're not behind. We haven't lagged on anything. A lot of projects have gotten pushed forward, and there was, in December, I pulled mine out, there was a total thing on Splash 4 and 5 that came out. If you didn't read it, can't help it. That's been done. And as far as this other stuff that you passed around, that's strictly what it is. It's an opinion of one person who I don't believe has a law degree anyway. What we're trying to decide here is, and I don't disagree with Commissioner Hogan, and nor do I think anybody does, in dealing whether the citizens of this community decide whether they want to go out and build a totally new facility outside the community. I think that should be left up to the citizens. But right now, they voted to expand this detention center, and by law, we're going to expand it, and we got to expand it where we said we would do and what we said we would do. Now, that's what we're trying to move forward, keep us in the budget where we said we would be, and I think that's what Commissioner Hogan is asking staff to do. And then it can be brought back in a form to the citizens how they want to do it, if they want to do it. But right now, we've acquired a block of land, with the exception of 2 properties that a gentleman bought to block this commission after we already had a deal set with the lady. And after we already had an agreement with the city to close down I Street. And they had voted in a public meeting. I don't know how you have different votes in a public meeting. I'm not sure how one's binding and one's not. I thought when you voted, you voted. But what we're doing here is voting to fulfill our obligation to SPLOST 5, deal with the jail overcrowding to this point, and then let the citizens decide. And what we've asked staff to do is go to the architect, let him come back with a design or some kind of concept of what he feels like, what it's going to cost, and then we'll move forward. This is professional services where he's already under contract with us, and I don't know that the legal opinion that we'll have to get that whether we have to go back out for bid or not. I'm not sure about that, but what we're asking for is not that at this time. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of clarification. One could infer, and people watching and listening could infer from Commissioner Thaw's statements that the detention center expansion item in SPLOST 5 is site-specific, which it is not. In SPLOST 4, there was an item, detention facility expansion, for $1 million, and that was done out on 341, what we refer to as the H building. And Mr. Attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was not illegal.
Under SPLOST 4, the H building?
Mm-hmm.
That was improper, yes, sir. Again, if we're going to discuss the logistics and legality of a SPLOST 5 detention center and the implications of that, I would recommend we discuss that in executive session.
Well, I'll keep it a very brief, limited point. Detention center facilities expansion in SPLOST 4 was much more specific than just detention facilities, the item listed in 5. And that was done out on 341 away from downtown. It was not site-specific, and neither is the $9 million SPLOST 5 budgeted item. It's not site-specific. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Charlie, you can take it and bring it back to us.